All right, on to the inequalities portion of your practice test. So the first four questions, 26, 27, 28, and 29, are all about graphing. Remember, for me, graphing can be as simple or as complicated as you want. One thing I do expect to see on every graph is 0, and then that number's relationship to 0. So -10 would be to the left of 0. You do not have to do the individual tick marks, counting to 10. All you have to do is show me which side of 0 it belongs on. I am going to, let's see, I'll put it over here. I'll put it right here in the middle. Remember that less than and greater than mean open, and then less than or equal to and greater than or equal to mean closed when you are graphing. So for this symbol, I'm going to put a closed point on -10. And then I'm going to ask, does 0 make my inequality true or false? So is 0 greater than or equal to -10? The answer is yes, so I am going to shade my graph in the direction of 0. For number 27, I'm going to put -15 on the graph. This says -15 is greater than or equal to, so I am going to close my point on -15, and then I'm going to ask, is -15 greater than or equal to 0? The answer here is no, so I'm going to shade the other way. Okay, so if 0 is true, you're going to shade in the direction of 0. If 0 is false, you're going to shade the other way. So for number 28, z is less than +2. Less than is going to be an open point. And then 0 is less than +2, so I'm going to shade in the direction of 0. For number 29, I'm going to put 5 on the right side of 0. 5 is less than x, is going to be an open point. And then is 5 less than 0? The answer there would be no, so I'm going to shade in the opposite direction of 0. The next part is all of the solving. So solving just we've got some multi-step, we've got some single step. And then we have to remember our special rule for this. I'm going to put that over here. If you multiply or divide by a negative, you're going to flip the sign. Okay, so if you're looking for some good information for your note card. Okay. So I'm going to treat these just like equations, but if I multiply or divide by a negative number, I'm going to flip the inequality symbol. So here I'm going to multiply by a -3. When I say that I'm multiplying by a -3, that means that this sign is going to flip, and m is greater than -15. For number 31, I'm dividing by a +4, so my sign is not going to flip. For number 32, I am dividing by a -11, so my sign is going to flip, and w is greater than -8. For number 33, I'm multiplying by a -3, so my sign is going to flip. So -27 is less than or equal to t. 34 is a two-step inequality, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides first. So 3b is less than or equal to -6. I'm dividing by +3, so my sign is not going to flip. b is less than or equal to -2. For number 35, I'm going to multiply by -5 on both sides first to take care of the negative and the fraction at the same time. So my sign is going to flip on this first step. So 16 times -5 is -80. And then I'm going to choose to divide because it works out nicely. So I'm going to get 15 minus x is greater than -20. Then I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. So -x, don't forget to bring that down with you, is greater than -35. And then I'm going to divide by -1, so my sign is going to flip back over. So every time you multiply or divide by a negative, the sign has to flip. So in my first step, up here it flipped. And then in my last step down here, when I divided by -1, it flipped back. So you do have to flip it every time you multiply or divide by a negative. For this one, I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides first. So 2 times 12 minus x is equal to 12. And again, 2 and 12 are compatible, so I'm going to divide by 2 and get rid of the distributive property. So 12 minus x is greater than, it's not equal to, changing my symbol on accident. So this is actually greater than 6. And I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, so -x is greater than -6. And then here, when I divide by a -1, x is less than 6. On number 37, I'm going to add 8 first. So -2 times 3x plus 5 is greater than 20. -2 and 20 are compatible, so I'm going to divide. So 3x plus 5 is less than -10. I divided by a negative, so I had to flip my sign. Then I'm going to subtract 5. So 3x is less than -15. When I divide by 3, x is less than -5. My sign does not flip because I did not divide by a negative. On number 38, I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides first. So 2.5x minus 4 divided by -3 is less than or equal to -20. When I multiply by -3 on both sides, I get 2.5x minus 4 is less than or equal to, nope, forgot to flip my sign, greater than or equal to positive 60. Then I'm going to add 4, so 2.5x is greater than or equal to 64. And then when I divide by 2.5, I get x is greater than or equal to 2.56. Let me just double check that really quick. 64 divided by 2.5 is 25.6, not 2.56, 25.6. So I used a calculator on that one. Remember what I told you about calculators? If you tell it the wrong information, it's going to tell you the wrong answer. So I double checked my work here. 64 divided by 2.5 is 25.6. So x is greater than or equal to 25.6. Starting with number 39, we're going to define a variable, and then we're going to write an inequality to represent the situation. These are not inequalities that you're going to solve. You're just writing an inequality that's going to represent what's happening in this situation. So this says more than 40,000 fans attended the opening football game at the University of Florida. So I'm going to say that x is the number of fans. And then in this problem, it says more than 40,000 fans. So x is greater than 40,000. Number 40 says her earrings were no more than $86. So we're talking about the cost of earrings. And the cost of the earrings was no more than, so less than or equal to $86. If they were no more than, they could cost $86, but they probably cost less than that. Number 41 says a savings account balance is now less than $550, so less than. So we're going to say that X is money in the bank. So the money in the bank is now less than $550. The number of club members is at least 25. So I'm going to say that X is club members. So X is greater than or equal to 25. If I have at least 25 people, that is the minimum amount. So I can have 25, but I probably have more. The spring calf class at the cattle show is for calves that weigh 825 pounds or less. So when it says they weigh 825 or less, that means it includes 825. So X is going to be weight. So X is less than or equal to 825. Number 44 says the minimum deposit for a new checking account is $75. So I'm going to put X is money in account. And the minimum means that it has to be more than that, but it can also be that value. So X is greater than or equal to 75. This is the end of the inequalities portion of your Module 6 practice test. You will be taking the inequalities portion of your test on Wednesday.